Namaskar everyone, good afternoon. Thank you for giving me such a wonderful opportunity to be at this platform. And again, thank you to Peace Corps and NSS. Thank you Aryaji as well. So we've been playing phone tag quite a bit because he's been wanting to me to come here and talk, and it didn't happen, and now I'm really delighted to be here because I'm an author. What a wonderful place to be in a library, right? Just like what Aryaji said, my husband and I have lived in Michigan for a long, long time. I've always been a teacher all of my life, teaching high school students in Nepal. But then when we moved to Michigan, I didn't want to teach high school students. So my passion are children and books, teaching, having fun with them. So I had to retrain myself. I became an early childhood Montessori educator. I took this training for 2 years, and then taught at a school in Ann Arbor for about 20 years. And now, why am I here? Once upon a time, I was a teacher. Now, I'm an author. Did I ever think I'd be an author? No. So living in Ann Arbor, like I said, I'm an early childhood educator. There were many parents would come and tell me, Mrs. Adhikary, where do you come from? I come from Nepal. Oh, India. And so I would tell them, no, I'm not Indian. Nepal has never been part of India. Then they would say, oh, Naples, Italy. And so I was kind of surprised by that. And in our home, we have a philosophy of getting up and doing something. We just don't sit at home and say, right? What can we do? So we just get up and do something. So then I thought, let me publish my first children's book, titled ANS for Nepal. So this book, we printed, this came out in 2011, and we printed 3,000 copies. I lived in Michigan. I never met the author. I was giving so many authors' names. So by doing some research, I liked Jen Mundy's work, and she became my illustrator. So this book, it's alphabetically, and I've also included a lot of information on Nepal. For example, A is for Annapurna, B is for bridges, C is for cows and dogs, and E is for Everest. Does anybody know how old Everest is, by the way? Mount Everest? Here? How old it is? It's 60 million years old. And then the meaning of the flag. Does anybody know why we have a flag that is shaped this way? It's because it represents the mountains. And so this book, although it's for little children, it could be for anyone. So this is how it goes: Himalayas, India. I specifically wanted to make this one, just so that people know we're not part of India. J is for jungles, Kathmandu. And does anybody know how Kathmandu got its name? Kathmandu. So there's a temple built out of the logs of a single tree. And so Kath means wood, and Mandap is temple. And Lumbini. I like to say that Nepali people are very peaceful. Maybe it's because Buddha was born there. Monkeys, I have a very funny story about this one. So in the Nepali tradition, when we go over to temples, we normally take some offerings, flowers. So I guess in about, I was in 4th grade. My mom and I, we went to Pashupatinath. So I come from Kathmandu, from Kongadi. And then, so my mom was carrying this basket of flowers. I was next to her. And from the rooftop of the temple in Pashupatinath, out jumped a monkey, landed on my mom's shoulders. And my mom was going around in circles, and this monkey was trying to get that basket. For me, I should have been really petrified, but oh no, I was just standing next to her, just laughing away, you know? So it's crazy. So when I shared this story to kids all over the globe, they can't just stop but laugh. So N is for Nepal, and so P is for Pashupatinath. It has a lot of information, and quails, rhinos, stupas, tigers, tarai, uniforms. So I studied in St. Mary's, we always wore a uniform. I taught in Adarsh Vidya Mandir in Patan, and this is the color of the uniforms, so this is why I wanted this color. And vehicles, well, children over here have seen sedans and other kind of cars. I wanted to make it unique for them, therefore all of these vehicles here. Walking, I talk about walking, especially when I go visit American schools and kids. I tell them, guess what? The students back in Nepal are not as lucky as you are. They live high up in the mountains and they carry big backpacks. So they have to walk all the way up and down, all the way up and down. But this is really helpful for them because they're getting enough workout. So always a positive spin to that. And X is for xylography. Does anybody know what xylography is? So if you have visited temples in Nepal, which we all do, we come across some beautiful wooden artwork, right? And so this is xylography. So I'm trying to tell the kids that they need to be aware of big words as well. It's important for them to have big words. Y is for yak and yeti. Yaks live in high elevation areas. A yeti is a mythical creature rumored to live in the Himalayas. Wouldn't it be great to see a yeti ride on a yak? You know, that would be funny, right? So kids enjoy it. I came to know that there's only one zoo, is the zoological park in Kathmandu, therefore it's a must see for all. When I was studying in St. Mary's, children over here, what do? You have so many field trips. Your teachers takes kids all over, but for us, every month we had a field trip where? To the zoo, because it was like 10-15 minutes walk from school. So this is my first book. I'm happy to say that this book has reached thousands of kids all over the globe. My husband and I, we travel quite a bit. My philosophy is it doesn't hurt to ask. So depending on which countries we visit, I do Google search, look at the hotels of other places we are staying, look for a school or a little yoga center. So I reach out to them and then I make an event. So this way I can share about Nepal to everyone. So I'm happy to say that with these 6 books that I've published, I think I lost count. I must have read to over 35,000 kids worldwide. My second one, I strongly believe in healthy living by not taking medication. But if you are ill, I suffer from back pain. And being a teacher, early child, carrying a lot of sand toys and etc. So my husband, who's always done yoga, he recommended that I do yoga. And it was really good because, if I take medicine, I'll be taking that for the rest of my life, but that's not what I want. So I want to live in a healthy way. So we have that for life. So I took yoga. I also have done 7-8 weeks of physical therapy. This is for all of you who might have hurt their backs or back pain. And so when I took physical therapy, that my husband recommended that I do yoga. So I took 7 weeks of Iyengar yoga in Ann Arbor, and I was blown away because the physical therapy exercises were very alike to the yoga poses that we were taught. So coming back to my school, I used to do yoga with my little kids, and I could feel that the temperature of the climate of my classroom was really peaceful. And then I had some parents come up to me and say, Mr. Adhikary, are you teaching yoga to kids? Because my summer daughter is coming home and showing it to me. And so that became a ritual. But then again, I wanted the world to learn all about yoga, especially preschools. And I published my second book titled, Y is for Yoga. Now this one has some beautiful illustrations, and I cannot thank Jennifer Mundy enough for making such beautiful illustration that I say seduces the child when they see this. So there's a lot of information. A is for asana or attention. B is for butterfly pose. I will not be talking all about this because it'll be boring otherwise. C is for cobra pose. Downward facing dog. So this way I have E is for exhale, frog pose. And then I wanted to include guru. Because if all of us notice that these days in mainstream English, we have so many Sanskrit words that's become the norm. Pundits, isn't it? So I thought G is for guru, and hand to feet pose. Inhale. J is for jumping jacks. K is for kindness. This is one page that I make it a must to read whenever I go visit schools. We should be kind and take good care of our bodies. We can do this by eating healthy, becoming active, and remaining peaceful. So what I ask children is, how can you be kind to your bodies? And I just let them answer. And I wait for their answer. There are some that say, oh, I like to eat vegetables, or I like to drink lots of water. And then I tell them, bravo, you know, try to go outdoors, go and play, but refrain from watching your mom's phone. And these days, I'm so disheartened to see little children being given their parents' phones all the time. I was approached by making my books available through Kindle. I did not want to do that, simply because I think it is so important for children to read, to be able to hold a book, to be able to flip pages, and this is why. So then I just want to instill being kind to your body by drinking lots of water, not even fruit juices, because that contains a lot of sugar as well. And L is for lotus pose, mountain pose. Coming from Nepal, I have to rub this in. So I've written, the first pose is stand tall like Mount Everest, and then I ask a question, can you stand still and majestic just like Mount Everest? So I feel that if kids are curious enough, they'll go home. They might turn the globe around, but they may do some research and try to find where Mount Everest is. Just trying to spark that little curiosity in them. And namaskar. Now I'm sure everybody knows the meaning of namaskar, right? For those of you that don't, so it's a lovely way to greet, which means I'm greeting you from within my soul, but I like to take it the other way. I say, you and I are one for now. So whatever works for you. And so Q is for quiet. This is how it goes, this one. And then, in so many cultures, it's a little disheartening because we have 2 daughters and 3 granddaughters. In so many cultures, sons are prized possessions and not daughters. It's not only in Nepali culture, it's in others too. So once again, I thought of writing a book that empowers girls. This one is My Daughters Are Smart. This one here embraces all kind of good qualities. So affectionate and birthday. Those of you parents that have little kids, whenever it's someone's birthday, you do not have to run to the store to buy a birthday card. You have papers, you have markers, you have crayons. You can have your kid make a little birthday card. So when your kid's friends or you or your dad or whoever receives a card will be really happy because it's coming from within them. They created this. So I'm trying to give little tips here on how to become peaceful, how to become independent, and doesn't matter if you are really big or small, fat or thin, you need to feel confident. So this book talks about self-esteem, how we can be happy, how we can be confident, and so on. Teaches kids about being empathetic, and so I too am a faculty teaching Montessori peace education, and this book has reached many, many schools. So I'm happy to say that so many teachers have told me many times that this book should be available in every single school. But the good thing I'll share about you, a little story of mine is, One child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world. Do you know who said this? So when this book was coming out, I wanted to be, on the cover of this book, I wanted to have a powerful quote from a girl or a lady or a woman. And I had heard this young Malala Yousafzai address at the United Nations. So this was her message. And I thought, wow, perfect, I should use this. So my publishing company is based here in Virginia. So I emailed them and I said, do you think it's possible for me to have this on the back cover? And they graciously said yes. Well, 3 days after this book came out, Malala became, she received the European Humanitarian Award. And several months afterwards, she became the youngest Nobel Peace Prize laureate. Now again, me being me, I wanted to share 3 of my books to Malala. We have friends living in England. So I called my friend and I said, hey Marguerite, could you do me a favor please and see where Malala lives? Because after that horrible incident or accident, she and her family moved to England. So my friend Marguerite did some research and she said, oh, they live in Birmingham. So I made my books and Marguerite mailed it to Malala's house. So I received a lovely letter from Malala's dad and saying thank you for writing such a lovely book. So that's a nice story. And then comes my 4th one. So Nepali people, we love everything. We love to embrace every culture. All of us, I'm sure, those of us that are kids, we also celebrate Christmas. And we celebrate anything under the sun. We're happy people. We just like to have fun, I think, right? But then what bothered me as a mom, as a teacher, as a wife, as a grandma now, is that during this holiday season, I used to go to bookstores, libraries, and I was a little bummed because I could not find a single children's book on Nepali holidays. Because there are lots and lots and lots of holiday books on Christmas, on Kwanzaa, on Hanukkah, even Diwali, all over. So I decided to publish my 4th one titled Dasai Aayo, Tihar Aayo. So this has 2 chapters, and again, it's this illustrator who doesn't know anything about, she says she doesn't know much about Nepal, she lives in California, but she has made such a beautiful, beautiful book. And now for those of you that are not aware, it's just like directing a movie. So my role is to tell my illustrators every little detail. I tell them, okay, this is what I want. This is the color I'd like you to use. This is the picture I want you to make. And hence, she made just a wonderful book here. So this is in a little poetic form, and it goes this way. Dasai is a special holiday with an abundance of good fortune to give away. It's a time for joy and celebration, cooking, cleaning before relaxation. So in the same way, this is all about Dasai for 10 days. The beautiful pictures. I don't know about you all, but Dasai has always been one of my most favorite holidays, simply because we'll be home for 15 days, you know, hanging out with family and friends and having a great time, flying kites. Dasai falls immediately after harvest season. Farmers are glad for this reason. Storerooms are stuffed with grains and rice. Everyone has a full belly, including the mice. So it goes in this way. And then again, swinging high up, and Dasai season is coming, dear parents. If you have little ones, make sure you give them little pots, give them little seeds, ask them to soak it, ask them to put some soil in it, and ask them to water it. It's such a good science exercise. Put a little ruler next to it and let them measure those little saplings that grow. There's so much we can do. So this is all about Dasain, and then there's also something about Tihar here. The first day of Tihar is Kukur Tihar, or worship of the crow. Treats and flowers are set out as anticipation grows, while people try to worship birds by touching their toes, while people's faces are just aglow. So this is how it goes, and then my fifth one. So me being a published author, my books have done really well. So we have already published each one about 3,000 copies each. So out of the funding that I get from there, I'm able to publish more. Also, my husband has been very supportive. And for me, a self-published author, I'm not joking, but one book has cost me anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000. Forget about the storage fees that I'm going to pay every year. So I was torn whether to reprint ANS for Nepal, because this book is highly in demand, 3,000 books gone. And I was like, and I've already written 16 other books. I'm just waiting for some kind of donor to come and give me some grant so I could publish more. But then I thought, no, I'll just print my fifth one. This is a funny folktale story. So there are 3 stories here. One is a true story that took place with my grandkids and I. Quickly, I'll tell you, we were in a grocery store. You know how the grocery people, the cashiers give little balloons every now and then. So it was 4th of July, we were planning on doing something. This cashier gave my little granddaughter a balloon. She was holding it, it flew away. And then she got another balloon, it flew away. Third balloon, it flew away. And then I came up with an idea saying, I'm going to make a story that a grandma is traveling all over Kathmandu with these balloons. And finally, you'll have to read it to figure out where we land. So it's a very funny story. The second one is called Ginormous Mula. I gave it a little twist. It is actually based on a Russian folktale called the enormous turnip, but mula is radish or daikon. And in this book, I have all about Nepali kids' names, because I thought it would be nice for American and other kids to also see some other names instead of Mary and Jane. So it has Shriya and Isha and Yukta and all. And this is based in a community. And then the third one, I'm sure all of you have great memories about your childhood. How many of you, your parents, grandparents have told you the story of do you remember eating sale? So for those of you that don't, it's a story, it's a lovely story where, in short, husband and wife are cooking sale. Sale is more like donut, right? Made out of rice and dipped in, cooked in ghee with lots of sugar. And then slowly they live by the jungle, so there's a bear sniffing all of this flavor that's going away. So the bear comes in and the husband and wife are cooking. One is cooking, the other is eating, the other is cooking, the other one is eating. And suddenly the bear comes and says, I smell something here. So then quickly the husband says to the wife, oh my God, they're kind of whispering, there's a big earthen pot that most of the Nepali homes have to store grains. So then the man kind of signs to his wife saying, jump in there. So she jumps in, he jumps in, and then the bear comes. Bear looks at the sail, and the bear starts eating. Meanwhile, because they've eaten so many sails, the husband and wife are cooked in this earthen pot. The wife says, she whispers and tells the husband, I feel like farting. And so the husband, then she just farts, boom, and then the earthen pot breaks, they come out, and the bear just runs away. So the moral of the story is don't be shy. It's boiling gas is coming out in all form. So this is my story. And now I'm going to share something. So there's so many of you parents. Please, please, please. I'm talking as a teacher and now a grandma. I have 3 granddaughters. One will be 13, 11, and 9. Please try and be very involved in your children's life. make reading a big part in their life. What I've seen is that Nepali parents, they rather buy a beer, but they will not invest in books. And because we are living here in this culture with embracing two different, in America, embracing two different cultures, it is not easy for our kids to walk out through the door and be an American. We need to teach them to embrace their diversity, to embrace their roots and heritage. Because I've heard people say that our friends' kids, I don't want to go to Nepal because it's so poor, it's so dirty. Oh no, we are so rich in our roots and culture and heritage. We need to instill these values in our children. And therefore, I strongly urge you all to get books like this, and so, or any other books about Nepal, and send it over to your children's classrooms, because when your kids' teachers pick out those books and start reading in school, you can just imagine what their face looks like. Their self-esteem grows up, they feel very confident. And also one other thing is when it's your kids' birthdays, I see that a lot of the parents are struggling and they're spending a lot of money buying gifts, frivolous gifts which will fall apart in half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours. But if you were to invest in books, then children can make a nice library in their room. They will have the world in their hand, they'll have a lot of wisdom. So please try to focus this. And like what Arielji said, I too have been living in Ann Arbor for a long time and have done many fundraising activities. We were very involved with Association of Nepalese America, ANMA, Association of Nepali in Midwest America. So I was, by default, the fundraiser. For 10 years, I used to go up on the stage and ask for money. It was those days when there were no smartphones, no internet. And so for 10 years, I raised $10,000, $8,000, $14,000. Why and how? Because when you're running a nonprofit organization, we need money, we need funding, isn't it? And so in that association, we had convention every year, so we thought, okay, it's time that we gave back to our community. Just think about 25 years back, friends who are here, Nepal was here, America was there. It was entirely two different countries. It was two different planets, I could say. And we tried to make this book, the title is Adjusting to the American Way of Life, Tips for Visitors, Students, and Immigrants from Nepal. Why did we make this book? Because in those days, 30 years back, when someone came to the airport, people were struggling to pull out a cart. We didn't know how to. People were struggling to make phone calls. And then when people came home in Nepal to conserve water, or rather we didn't have this modern toilets where we needed to flush every single time. And here, you can do that, you need to flush. So here it's all how to. And this is 25 years old, so I feel really happy that this book has been circulated amongst Nepali, Bhutani people. 50,000 copies we gave away for free. If you would like, you can download it. It's for free for all. And then we also got some grant, so we've made it into a flip book by translating it and making it into English. And I was invited by International Office of Migration in Kathmandu to give a presentation for 300 Bhutani Nepali that were coming here about 10, 12 years back. Now, after this, we also became really involved with American Nepal Medical Foundation. My husband is also one of the founding fathers. And we raised money, oh my God, I don't know how much we raised every year. One year in Chicago, we raised $40,000. This was a black tie dinner. And what was this funding used for? It was used for 200 women's uterine prolapse surgeries. So every year we raised lots of funding. And then in 2015, the earthquake hit, right, badly. Me being a teacher, it was just terrible to see that, you know, schools were down on the ground. So we had a fundraising event planned in our basement. Right away, we raised $7,000 and we sent that for Teach for Nepal. So we've also had, and then after the earthquake, there was another organization that was born. This is Ek Paila. This organization gives free eye checkup to the very poor people living in rural parts of Nepal. It was started by one doctor and his team of people. Dr. Suman Thapa was the leading ophthalmologist in Nepal. He's given vision to thousands and thousands of people. Of course, he's also a singer. He sings, raises funds, he uses those funds for this medical care. And we also have raised funds for Ek Paila 3 times from our basement in Ann Arbor. Once we raised 18,000, the other time we raised 8,000. Last year, I'm so happy to share this with you, via Zoom, we raised $33,000. Can you imagine? And we had, on the Zoom, on our screen, at one time we had about 88 people participating from all over the globe. This funding was used for...
we have 2 more minutes.
This funding was used for to buy equipment at a hospital in Sindhupalchok. So once again, I'm so happy that I'm here, and like you said, you know, we live here now. I also conduct workshops, which I call parenting, cultural differences in parenting, because the way we were raised in Nepal, we cannot raise our kids the same way here. That house will be miserable. Kids will be sick, you know, kids will be ill. And so we need to make a happy house, isn't it? We need to make a home, a happy home. And because of my experiences living here, having raised 2 girls who are really good kids and now 3 granddaughters. So I conduct workshops. I'm also one of the faculty members to teach peace education in the Montessori method of education. So now that we live here, please feel free to reach out. And this is the first time I'm receiving such a wonderful opportunity to share my books after the pandemic. So thank you again. Otherwise, I was very busy doing, you know, reading and doing yoga in different places. I also teach yoga to kids. So once again, my last request to all of you parents is, please teach yoga to kids from a very young age. You'll be helping them for the rest of their life to become a happy, healthy kid. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.